Friday. The week is sort of over. Saturday and Sunday are important, but it's late night happy hour. Dave Koken is in tonight, as he will be most Friday nights. Von Tobel with the night off. I think he's doing like a staycation somewhere, so he's good to go. Dave, what's going on?
I know John was talking about having ingested hot sake for the first time ever and was very impressed.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's on a staycation someplace, and he's doing it up right.
Are you a teppanyaki guy? Do you like the hibachi?
I do, yeah. It's I love Japanese food. It's fantastic.
The best. That's where John went tonight. So I won't give away his location. He's got a lot of fans in the market, so we don't have him stalked or anything, you know?
Well, that's good. They'll find him anyway. You know, celebrities, the paparazzi will be out there looking for him.
So Dave just revealed some really exciting information before he popped on. What's new in your life at home?
2 new cable boxes.
Okay, what does that mean?
My old cable box, unfortunately, it had to be euthanized. It stopped working yesterday. And Cox came right out this morning. They had some trouble getting the software in, so it took a few hours, but the technician was first rate, a guy named Justin, and now I've got 2 new boxes, and everything's smooth as silk. I love it.
Wow, a good cable TV story from Dave Koken. I like it.
I've actually had, I know a lot of people talk about service issues, but I've had nothing but good stuff with them for, 35 or so years that I've had cable out here. So, yeah, I'm a long-time customer.
35 years, so let me do the math. So we're going back to 85?
Well, somewhere in that range. All I know is, look, when my bank was First Interstate Bank, which is no longer around. My supermarket was Lucky's, which is no longer around. These places have all merged with other companies, so the market's still there, the bank's still there, but they're under different names. But the cable company has lasted the entire duration out here.
Nice. What was cable TV like when you first got it?
I don't really remember. It gave more stations, that's for sure. I got to watch Australian Rules football on ESPN, which is where I discovered Australian Rules football, because they used to run it all the time. They didn't have much programming back when they got started in 81 or something like that. And so Aussie football was a very popular item. Then it disappeared, but now it's back. And that's a great sport, by the way. Absolutely terrific sport. I love watching it. And once you understand the rules, it's nothing but action. It's like a combination of hockey and football.
It was, you're right, on ESPN, because they didn't have that much programming. It was on all the freaking time, the Australian Rules football.
Yeah, but I became a fan. And I have never bet the sport. I haven't followed it that closely, but I love watching it. And it still pops on. I think on a couple of networks. I think Fox Sports also carries it. So you'll see some games in the middle of the night at times. It's like, okay, I'm in.
What was ESPN Saturday After Dark? You're talking about boxing? What was that? Any clue?
I don't remember.
Yeah, let's see if Sean answers. Someone was asking, do you have like a big TV setup, or you just got like one big TV? Do you have like
I've got a couple side by side, so I can watch 2 things at once. And I don't like the picture-in-picture. I don't like using that. So I just go with 2 TVs. And tonight, it's pretty good. I had the Yankees on, which I enjoyed because they lost. And I had Louisville on, which I did not enjoy because they sucked, and I bet them. So that was an L. 50-50 of the TVs. I wanted to break one of them. The other one I wanted to caress.
Caress. Sean said After Dark was boxing, racing, arena football, beach volleyball, and cliff diving.
Arena football?
85.
No, I don't. I think, was arena football around then? Because we had didn't we have one of the original arena football teams, the Gladiators?
Arena football might have been around 85.
Okay. I thought, I don't know about that. USFL was still around in 85 before a guy whose skin has turned orange ruined the league. Sorry, he did. I don't care whether you like him or not. He ruined that league. I thought the Gladiators were right at the beginning of the Arena Football League, and that wasn't '85. That was later. Much. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
Arena Football, first game, 1987.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so close.
When did the Gladiators appear out here? That was the early '90s, wasn't it?
I'm looking now. Let's see. Oh boy. Hold on. It's a big list. Anyone got it? In the chat? What the hell?
Well, they had to be. We got the Cleveland franchise, I think. Is that correct? Ferraro moved the Cleveland team out here.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. That went real well. They went from selling out. I mean, they were packing the place every week at Thomas and Mack, and by the end of their run here, they couldn't give away tickets to go see them at the Orleans. If the Golden Knights have been the optimum in community relations, the polar opposite was the Gladiators. The players were great. The owner was. I think we were doing a show. I believe it was at the MGM Grand on a boxing week, and I think Ferraro came on with us, and I don't know if I've ever had a guest on that. It seemed like he had consumed several bottles of 5 Hour Energy. I suspect it might have been something else, but that's just my thinking.
a little cocaine.
I'm not going to say. I mean, I don't want to get sued, but he was very energetic.
Hey, Gladiators was 2003 to 7. The Sting, as Alex Smith said, was the first team here, and that was like around I don't know. I just looked it up, like 94, 95, 96, something like that.
First what team?
First arena team. The Sting.
Okay.
I think the Sting were arena team. I don't know.
I don't remember. We had indoor soccer and what was and then we had a team. Didn't we have a team called the Dust Devils or something like that? I don't remember what sport they played. But you go back to the Las Vegas history.
It says we had the Sting in '94. Some kind of arena team.
I don't remember them at all.
Yeah.
But thanks, Alex.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know that I can't remember stuff that it's a sign of things to come. I do remember there was a team called the Las Vegas Sting, but I don't know what they were. We had the Posse, which was the ill-advised Canadian Football League team that came here. Canadian Football League put a team here and in Sacramento, I believe. And those might not be the two best places to play football in the summertime.
There's some good commenters tonight. The Lizard Kickers in '94. I like that. All right. Let's see. Daddy, I found you after 20 years and you love sports. That might be for you, Dave. That might be for you.
Not sure who that is.
Allie, I think complimenting us, but also maybe ripping us. Listen to us, the commenters. Oh, you are the ones who count. Lakers talk. Yeah, we'll get to it.
I actually watched some basketball tonight, which I rarely do, but I did watch Jimmy Buckets and the Heat put on a pretty good show.
Yeah, what do you think of the end of the game with the Lakers? With because everyone, I cannot believe. I guess it's such an easy topic, and it just shows how like big the all-time icons of basketball, always go back to the conversation around those guys. It always goes back to the same thing, and it's comparing LeBron to Jordan. And LeBron gave up the ball in a triple team, pitched it out to a guy wide open, which, by the way, Jordan did that multiple times.
Yep.
Some little white guys hit some big shots, and Kerr and Paxson, right? LeBron does it tonight. He's, the designated three-point shooter who shot threes like ass this year, is wide open, almost airballs it, and people are like, nope, LeBron should have taken the shot. I'm like, what?
There's just no way to satisfy fans. Depending on the night, every game in his career, basically, Kobe Bryant either shot too much or passed too much.
Right.
Especially if the Lakers lost. It was always Kobe's fault. Always. Since he retired and then passed away, of course, the attitude is much nicer toward him now than it was when he was alive. Because Kobe used to get crushed all the time, despite his incredible talent. Anytime the Lakers lost, Kobe, ball hog. And then when he passes the ball, it's like, you got to take the shot. Welcome to fans.
I'm on fire says you can't compare the two men. Let's see. Panny says y'all don't like women. All right. You're wide open.
Oh, I love women.
What else we
Trust
got?
me, I probably loved them too much over the years.
Queen is calling you. I guess it's you since you're wearing the blue. Silver Fox. All right.
Thank you.
That's a good compliment. Now you're not dyeing the beard anymore. Now you're Silver Fox.
No, the beard is way beyond dying. That would be a really stupid look at this point. That is it. I do not understand why guys who are in my age group, which is pushing 70.
Yeah.
It's like your hair isn't dark anymore, okay? It just isn't. Nobody has dark hair at 70.
Well, why did you stop? Didn't you go a little too far too?
I thought, yes. I think when I started seeing it's like this doesn't look right. It's like, okay, it's time to let it go. That's been a good 7 years or so. I think it was right around 60. It's like, okay, this is done. And I didn't have to worry. I wasn't doing TV anymore. The reason I started coloring it in the first place was doing Proline. I went gray pretty early. And doing Proline, they told me, it says your beard looks all patchy on TV. You either got to shave it off or get it colored. And I didn't want to shave it off, so I got it colored. And it looked good for a lot of years. And then it didn't. Then it started to look ridiculous. It just always amused me. Tony Curtis, who's a great actor and was a hell of a good guy.
The Rug. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, The Rug and the facelifts.
The facelifts too.
Jesus, the guy's in his mid-80s and he's trying to look 60, and it made him look worse. And it's like, God damn, man, it's like everybody likes you. They don't care what you look like. Everybody knows you're in your mid-80s. Just let it go. I mean, I never said it to him, but he was a really good guy, by the way. He loved boxing.
I mean, these commenters tonight are great. I so dilated that Dave needs shades.
No, that's something entirely different.
Back in the 80s, Avery says the guy in the blue can bend me over anytime. All right. Someone wants to ride. All right, Dave, you're good to go, right? You're good to go near 70. Someone wants to ride.
Where are these comments coming from?
It's all our YouTube fans. They love us. Can I ride that Silver Fox? Karen likes the eye patch. She's calling you boo. All right.
No, I hate the eye patch, but unfortunately, it's going to be part of me for the remainder of the time I'm here.
Oh no. The apparently the love fest stopped. Shit, you look mid-70s. You need to let it go, bro. What's he got to let go? We went great with the beard.
What am I going to let go? I'm not faking anything at this point. I mean, there's been no plastic surgery.
I don't know what's going on.
If you want to see the meats, I would suggest that you order something from Meat Up now, and you'll have some great steaks in your house.
I forgot. Yeah, it says Meat Up. That's why all the meat references.
That must have been what he was talking about.
This is a big Koken night. Las Vegas Nevada Radio Hall of Famer. A lot of love for Koken. All right.
By the way, the heaviest trophy I have ever. Have you got one of those?
What's that? No. It's funny.
You must be coming up on it.
Well, explain what it is. First of all, it's
okay.
Nevada. It's the Nevada Radio Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, Nevada Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Yeah. And the qualifications are that you work in the industry for 20 years.
Yep.
That's it. Okay.
Dave and I are like the only ones who are honest about this, because I see everyone else. It's like in their bio, like, what an honor. Like, you had to last a while in Nevada. I mean,
you had a job for 20 years.
Dave is great, and he is a Hall of Famer, but like they actually did. Funny enough, they did reach out to me, and I was I was in this year, and they're having some kind of ceremony in August, and then COVID happened. So
figures. Mine was actually a fabulous ceremony. It had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
But Jerry Lewis was the guest.
Really?
Yeah, and he was just great. He was a funny guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, nobody paid any attention. Nobody paid any attention to the people going to the Hall of Fame, but that was fine. I mean, it's like, good. I'm getting a free show from Jerry Lewis. I'm all right with this. And the trophy is just it weighs like 50 pounds.
Really?
Oh, it's really heavy. Yeah.
Okay. What do you have to make a speech?
No,
Good, thank
no,
you.
you just go up on stage and get your trophy and get the hell off.
Can you imagine listening to the on-air people, because it's everyone can you imagine listening to the on-air people in broadcasting bloviate as they freaking talk about being in the Nevada Broadcasting Hall of Fame? A fucking break.
Yeah, no, I've never. At least I was at that because I won. I think it was twice. I won the Nevada Broadcaster of the Year thing, and I never went to the ceremonies because they were too far away. They were in North Carolina because it was a national thing. It's like, okay, I'm not going.
Someone was asking about the Seattle. There's a Seattle radio host, I guess, who works for the Seahawks. And it says here a transphobic tweet that disparaged the governor has resulted in the suspension of someone named Dory Morrison. I saw this the other day. I really didn't even get it. So, I don't know. I'll look it up, but
I don't know who Dory Morrison is, and I must confess I don't. Oh, I think I forget his name, but I do know the governor of Washington. Didn't he? Wasn't he one of the lesser candidates for president?
we're going to be really ignorant on this one. Brady was asking my opinion, and when I saw it the other day, I was like, whatever. I'm like, if the station wants to keep him around, I guess. I kind of didn't even get the joke. I guess saying that Inslee, the governor, said, we follow science in Washington, the state where I could go to Olympia tomorrow, change my get to say I was a girl on 10/2/61. Ha 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 ha. So
Okay.
I don't know. I guess it's like it said, it's a transphobic tweet. So just everyone stop tweeting stupid shit. So just leave everyone else alone who's not you. Stop ripping people, cracking jokes. You're a dipshit. I've actually never heard of this person, and I follow radio pretty closely. So I don't know if they're well established in Washington or what the deal is, but they're suspended. So you saw what happened in the end. Tom Brenneman wound up just quitting the Reds. It took a little while, but he just wound up quitting the Reds because he's, what do you think of that, by the way? You're an old school guy, and so am I. And obviously the F word, the other F word, the full form of fag, right? Well, people used to use it all the time. I don't know how much you used it or what it meant, but
when we were kids, we used it all the time.
Right. The fact that Tom Brenneman in 2020, I think that the weird thing was, that during a break, he's casually throwing it around and talking about some city being the fag capital of the country, and his stupid, it's his real voice. But that's the thing that got me is just like how, well, one, the fact that he's talking like that is offensive, but two, that he's blowing that down the line, probably with, multiple people listening to it. And he has no idea, like if someone on his crew is a homosexual, he had no clue. And then his sob story afterwards, like, I didn't realize how toxic it was. Like in 2020, if you don't realize how toxic the word is, come on, bro, where have you been?
I think you might have gotten away with it if he'd have been a little more honest in the aftermath and just said, look, I didn't mean anything by it. It's just a word we use. Okay, it didn't even have any connotation. I'm an old guy, and it's a word we used when we were younger, and it wasn't a homophobic insult. Sorry about that. And instead, he went the complete other route with, I want to be active in the community. Oh, come on. That's where it's like, I know you're bullshitting now, man. Okay, you just admit you screwed up and leave it at that. I think most people, I can't say what would have happened, but I think most people probably would have said, all right, it's not that big a deal. You don't lose your job because of this. And I don't think he was going to get his job back, to be honest with you. So he quit rather than get canned. But that's, look, we used to talk about this on a regular basis doing the show, was how everything has changed, where words, the old cliche about actions are more power, actions mean more than words, whatever the expression is, it's flipped. Words mean more than actions now. And I think we've gone horribly backwards in that shows that were on 50 years ago, All in the Family was on 50 years ago. They could not put that show on the air now.
Yep.
There's something wrong.
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles, they have to edit it for TV. Are you kidding? Blazing Saddles is hilarious. But if you take out all the poor taste stuff, it's not very good. It's the poor taste that makes it great. So we've gone backwards, and that's a shame.
We're not ignoring the comments. I'm putting them up. We're just, Dave's. I see it here. Davey, sexy bastard. Read the comments already. Dave's had a lifetime of this. This doesn't throw him off. He's had women chasing him forever. He kind of handles it very smoothly.
I don't know if they chased me, but we met halfway.
There you go.
There was a time frame for several years where I did rather well. And thankfully, one of those wonderful women is still very much a part of my life.
Good.
Debbie, we're 25, 26 years now. So
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we're still very close.
Yes, clearly after speaking on the video, we are illiterate. We can't read. We're just we're not ignoring you. We're not ignoring you.
No.
I didn't know about Dory Monson has been on the air in Seattle for 25 years. Okay. Ian Rappaport actually got suspended, but I think I don't know exactly what he got suspended for because all the stuff is deleted. I think he made some kind of comment about manscaping and the NFL Network.
Oh, yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah. And that has led, of course, to a barrage of sensational tweets. Well, he got nicked for saying that, and then, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. All right. Questions about Dave. Can you get it up? Is he well hung? All right. Now Terry's coming in saying it's past your bedtime. Old Blue. I like Old Blue.
Terry, I can outlast you. I don't care how.
There you go. Yeah.
I can guarantee you that. Okay, buddy. That's the one of the great things about being a sports bettor and handicapper. You get used to staying up real late. I'm probably going to watch. Well, no, the KBO isn't on tonight, but I have on a regular basis stayed up to watch Korean baseball. So my late night tolerance is still really strong.
Yes, exactly.
All right, now you're getting to some comments as well, too.
As hell, baby. Tell us about that long winter.
Oh, I tweeted that immediately after the game. I think it was "Have a nice winter, Yankees."
Yeah.
I was rooting. Tonight I didn't have a bet in the game, so I became a fan. And on nights when I'm a fan, I'm rooting against the Yankees. I'm a Red Sox fan. And there wasn't much to root for as far as the Red Sox are concerned this year, so I had to enjoy this.
You prick. I was driving around town when I heard the home run off of what's his face there?
Chapman?
Right? Yeah, off Chapman. And then I run in the house, and I will tell you, going back to your story about a very exciting story about cable and being with Cox for all this time. Cutting the cord, one of the things that does suck about cutting the cord is actually getting to the fucking channel. You have to go through like 9 prompts to get to the channel when you're using like Hulu or whatever live TV.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Dave, I swear, it was like 4 minutes. I'm like, come on, get the game on here. And all of a sudden I hear like ding, ding on my phone. I walk over to the phone, final 2-1. I'm like, all right, there you go. That's it. I didn't get to see the last 2 batters, but whatever. Oh,
well, we move on, and I think the Rays have a really good chance to win it all. I think they match up well against Houston, and I think they're going to match. I think they're going to match up well against either Atlanta or the Dodgers. If you want to, my choice to win it all at this point would be the Rays, and I hope they get there just to show that will hopefully forever end the small market bullshit excuse that teams like the Pirates offer up on an annual basis.
Yeah, but wait a second. I heard you. You said I didn't respond to you during the spot, but I was thinking about it. We did a spot today at 4:45, and I swear I thought I heard you say, "Hey, I'm rooting for the Rays because they don't have a lot of money." And I was going to fire back and ran out of time. I'm like, "Yeah, they have the Yankees and Red Sox money. You're
right. Yeah.
They don't have $250 million to spend, but every team in baseball between the national TV deal and revenue sharing can pretty much put a minimum $130 million payroll on the field.
Right.
That's half of the Yankees and Dodgers, but you can win with 130, and the Rays have proven it. If you're a good organization and you don't spend stupidly, you can be really good.
And even if you're in one of the lesser markets, you can still afford to have that one big player on your team. So I know the Reds will lose Trevor Bauer in the offseason, and they'll blame it on the fact that they're in Cincinnati. They can afford to sign Trevor Bauer.
Dave, the more we look at it, is any player really worth over $20 million?
No. Well, Mike Trout.
Okay, but again, if
maybe Mookie Betts probably. That's about it.
Yeah. See, the problem is you get think about what happened tonight, right? Austin Meadows had a home run, and he only got 2 1/3 out of the game. But Glasnow pitched well in the series. Well, Glasnow, if I'm correct, Glasnow and Meadows. Was there another player? They were the two guys who went from Pittsburgh to Tampa. Was that for Chris Archer?
Yeah, there's a third player, and I'm blanking out who it was.
That was for Chris Archer. Now, Chris Archer didn't work out because he got hurt. But you make a trade like that with two 23-year-olds, you're setting up another franchise for 6 years.
Yeah, it's bad deals. It's not money. When you look at the trades O'Brien made while he was the GM of the Houston Texans, everybody's on the same pay scale in the NFL. The cap is the cap. But he makes this awful deal with the Dolphins, which everybody looked at when he made the trade and said, wait a minute, you just traded away how many draft picks for an offensive lineman? Are you out of your mind?
Yep.
And that trade is going to be an absolute disaster for that team moving forward. It's going to be great for the Dolphins. Huh.
Shane Baz was the other player.
Okay.
He's the other player.
Well, they got two stars out of it, that's for sure. And Archer, they overrated Archer to begin with, and then on top of that, he gets hurt, and who knows if he'll ever be effective again. But that's it's good organizations, bad organizations in every sport. The Ottawa Senators in the NHL. I'm not going to dwell on the NHL because I know it's not a big draw on this show, even though we have the Golden Knights. They just spent a shitload of money to sign Matt Murray as a free agent. It's like no wonder they lose every year. It's a terrible signing.
Yep.
But bad organizations do bad things on a regular basis. Look how many years the Clippers did astonishingly stupid things in the NBA. Now they've got new ownership and they've gotten better. They didn't win the title, but they're a pretty good franchise at this point. But it's the same franchise. It's just different people in charge. The people there now know what they're doing. The guy who was there previously was the worst ever. Well, second worst ever. Ted Stepien was the worst ever.
Can I ask you about Yankees moving forward? I know there's a lot of, there was a lot of mocking tonight on the Yankees and, oh, poor Yankees, and people enjoyed it. But what do they need to do in the offseason?
Well, they're going to have to go get a pitcher.
Yep.
Because at this point, they can't be sure that Severino's going to be right again. Cole's going to be fine, but Tanaka's on the dark side of the age thing. Happ has declined.
Unreliable and a whiny pussy. I don't want to hear about you starting. Listen. I know Boone screwed up. But you know what? You don't need to go after the game and say, "Hey, I wanted to start," and shut up. You know what I mean? Come on.
Well, yeah.
You're in New York. You're just fanning the flames. It's stupid. It's pointless.
Yeah, he won't be there next year. He'll be gone. I like the Garcia kid. I think he's going to be a really good pitcher, and he has the endorsement of Pedro Martinez. And if Pedro thinks he's going to be good, he's probably got some talent because Pedro is really good at recognizing that. By the way, how good are TBS/TNT on their postgame shows? It's going to be the most entertaining stuff on TV even if you're not a heavy-duty fan. NBA with Shaq and Barkley and Kenny Smith and MLB with Pedro Martinez and Jimmy Rollins and Curtis Granderson. And, of course, Ernie Johnson's hosting both shows. He's the best at that. Those shows are great, even if you didn't watch the games. Even if you're not a fan of baseball or the NBA. Watching the post-game shows on that combo of networks is some of the best entertainment around.
I'll pass on Pedro, but I have personal feelings about Pedro, my friend.
But he's really good on the show.
He's fucking annoying. For Yankee fans, he's annoying. So he's doing what he should do, and that's spike Yankee fans and annoy them. So that's okay. I cannot. You know what? It's funny. Someone was just saying in the chat that Tanaka's contract's over. I can't believe his contract's over already. Man,
is it really? Oh, I forgot. I didn't know that.
That was 7 years that flew by quickly.
Wow.
You know what? I'll pass on Tanaka again at 23 a year. So he was.
Yeah, I think he'll be playing. He'll be pitching elsewhere next year. Then.
Right.
I wouldn't think. I mean, they're not going to spend a lot of money on him instead of spending it on somebody else, because they're going to go after somebody in the free agent market. I don't think they're going to try and corner the market, but they'll try and add a piece, and that's what they're supposed to do. Hopefully the Red Sox don't go after Tanaka and try and hope he's the next Daisuke Matsuyama.
Right? You think the Yankees will? Well, no, I was going to say, you think James Paxton will feel bad that he barely pitched and was hurt the last couple of years? When he did pitch, he was okay, but he was only on a 1-year deal. I wonder if
and unfortunately, he's become one of those guys who at this point is a tremendous health risk. He can't go 3 starts in a row without getting hurt. So I don't know where he lands, but I wouldn't. If he gets a 2-year contract from somebody who's doing well.
Yeah, that's a good comment about Judge. Judge is not a defensive specialist in the outfield, so he almost knocked himself out against the wall he just kind of slammed into it.
Yeah, at least it didn't bounce off his head like Canseco and go into the stands. That's still one of my favorite moments of all time. That's over 30 years ago, by the way. Can you believe that? I think it's that long ago.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That is.
I am old. I really am old.
So back to the Lakers. Are the Lakers going to be able to finish this out, or is this going to be like one of the most monumental collapses we've ever seen?
See, that part I can't really give you a good answer on because I haven't followed the sport closely enough this year. But, I mean, they better find a way to at least contain Butler, right? If he throws a 40-pointer out there against them, they might have some trouble. All the pressure's on the Lakers. All of it. I mean, the Heat are not supposed to win this. And all of a sudden, I mean, the Lakers are, it's at least a 6-game series, and it could be 7. I think the Lakers will finish it off, but I wouldn't bet on it. And again, don't pay much attention to my opinion on that because I'm not at all an NBA expert.
That's sad. I think we lost all your admirers. We didn't address them enough. So not enough boner talk. What can you do?
I'm not surprised.
Terry, microphone talkers' lives matter. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Where did they come from?
We get I don't know, like every 3 weeks we get a run of Left Coast Mike. We were enjoying that. To be fawned over by bots or not, I don't care. And Dave was getting some love. Let's not say fuck them. We want them to come back.
Yeah, I don't know. There were a few of the comments that were kind of funny, but most of them were pretty lame. I mean, you got to come up with something good. If you're gonna troll, you have to be creative. There's such a thing as good trolling. Bad trolling is really an unacceptable deal, and I know because in my business we get trolled.
Oh my god, you guys get trolled.
And it's like if you come up with something good, and I'll play along and have some fun. But if it's just this weak stuff, it's like you got to do better than that.
Let's see. Carvelli said Carvelli couldn't get in. He couldn't get in with comments. We were getting overloaded with all those hot babes. Carvelli with the fuck is wrong with these YouTube people. All right. Well, they get emotional. Razorback scoop. Ain't no love like bot love. Sure. Did you see some of the ISO shots? Like once, so LeBron gives the ball up. He kicks it out to Danny Green. Danny Green's got to hit that shot. Come on, man. That's your job is to be the 3-point shooter. He nearly airballs it. The ball comes to Markieff Morris, and then he completely freaks out. He tries to throw a lob pass into AD as AD is being pushed away from the basket. Meanwhile, if you see the screenshots, LeBron is on the right side. He's come from out of bounds, like just inside the 3 as I cover my face. But he comes just inside the 3. He's holding his hand up. He's wide open. Wide open. And KCP might have been open in the corner too, so.
Well, I do have one question.
All-time freak out by Markieff Morris. And that's why, I mean, these are the perils, one, of having LeBron, have input on your, player judgment, because I think LeBron brought in some of those guys or wanted them. And 2, when you have a couple of big stars who are making monster money, you're going to have to fill in with pieces. And sometimes the pieces are, an aging, decrepit, poor shooting Danny Green or Markieff Morris, who's, not exactly a brainiac.
But to me, the question should be, rather than second-guessing LeBron, which Twitter seems to be doing en masse, why is Danny Green on the floor? Hasn't he had a horrible series?
Yep.
I think he hit 1 3 tonight, and when he hit the 3, it was like sarcasm blew up on Twitter. Oh, he hit a three. So why is he in at that crucial moment of the game? You want somebody who's making shots, not somebody who's been bricking everything.
And down the stretch, and this happened in the other game they lost. Down the stretch, the sideline's got to help a little bit. You absolutely have to come up with something to double Jimmy Butler. And you know what? If Duncan Robinson beat you or Tyler Hero beat you from three, then okay. But if Jimmy Butler is going to drive to within, right to the cup and get fouled, which, by the way, don't foul him. He's like 46 of 50 now. What was he, 12 of 12 tonight? But someone else has got to shoot the freaking ball. You can't let him get downhill one-on-one. He's going to draw a foul.
It's the same in any football. Is not much you can do about it, but it's the same in baseball. Going back to the Barry Bonds days, it's like it's a close game. Bonds is up. Just put him on. That's it. Just put him on. There's no real strategy here. It's the easiest move there is. Just don't let him beat you. Make somebody else beat you. And that's the way it's got to be right now with Jimmy Butler. He's going to get points, but you can't let Butler be the guy who beats you if you're the Lakers. Force somebody else on that team to do it. Nobody else is close to him on that team. I know Tyler Harrow's had a tremendous postseason, but, let's face it, he ain't Jimmy Butler. So I would think that the Lakers will. That's got to be their focus in the next game. Is we know he's going to get some points, but we can't let him get 40.
Yeah, I figured people were going to think about this immediately too. Not the AD Butler part, but the NBA getting a Sunday night primetime game now. So I guess that's good. I guess it's good. I'm sure people are going to answer this before I even get it out. What's the Sunday night football game tonight? Go ahead, everybody.
Let's see. What is it? I think it's.
There's too many goddamn games at the end of the week. Seattle and Minnesota. So
right.
Russ Cooks going up against the NBA. That'll be interesting from a number standpoint.
Well, the football will beat it, but the basketball will have a lot of viewers, and I'll probably watch both. As long as it doesn't. I think the baseball game will be earlier in the day. I would assume. Baseball's not. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that because baseball can do some really stupid things.
Yes, they can. They've actually lucked out to this point. The baseball postseason is always good, so it's not like Manfred can't fuck that up. He fucks up everything else, but he can't screw that up.
Well, they did a little bit though. They managed to get conflicts on games when they didn't need to. Yeah. Why are you having games overlap? You only got 4 games. Okay, there's just no reason to have them overlap, and don't bury them where people can't find them. Because I was seeing a lot of complaints like, I don't even know where this game is. Make sure you've got all your networks that are involved plugging it on other networks as well, so everybody knows where the games are.
So you see it, right, Dave? ALCS.
Sunday, 4:30 p.m.
Sunday, 4:30.
Yeah, they're going to have to go up against the NFL at some point during the day. I don't know. I can't tell you when's the best time.
Yeah, it was funny.
And the NBA's at the same time.
Yeah, yep. I was listening. Sirius XM was feeding the Rays radio network, and the Rays play-by-play guy is like, "This is a tremendous game," and it's been such a rough time. All the terrible things that have happened in this country. It's glad to know that a nation is watching the baseball right now and enjoying this. And I'm like, I think you're getting some viewers. You're getting viewers in Tampa and New York, and some other viewers like in places like Dave's home where he's got 2 TVs. But I think a lot more people are watching the NBA net right now.
Yes, I'm quite sure the NBA probably outrated Major League Baseball. Well, they beat hockey anyway.
Yeah, hockey.
And I think they beat Australian rules football, despite people like me.
Barely. All right. A couple of college football games and some NFL, and then I got to show you a crazy video that I think might catch you up a little bit. But it's kind of newsy, so it's not going to be some whatever. It's going to be a newsy video, so get ready for it. I don't think we talked about Florida today. Were you saying you didn't like Kyle Trask?
No, I like him a lot.
Oh, you do? Okay. So Florida's 5 now against Texas A&M. Is Jimbo going to put up a big performance? Are they going to start winning some games, or what the hell's going on?
I think they were a little overrated coming into the season, but they're still a good team. And it's kind of a tricky week for Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, and LSU.
Yep.
Because those 4 are meeting each other next week. Florida plays LSU next week in Gainesville, I believe. And Georgia and Alabama is an enormous game. So all four of those teams want to get, and LSU is not playing at home. Now they have to play at Missouri because of the hurricane. So all four of those teams have to be careful about coming in less than focused. I have a tendency, and I'm not saying bet against them, because if they're ready to play, they can all win big. But these are situations where teams, even of that magnitude, don't always deliver their best performances. They do enough to win, but can make it really tough against the spread. And A&M's a capable team, and I think if Mond has one of his good games, and the Florida defense hasn't been great so far, A&M's got a shot in that one.
All right. What about the total? Is there going to be scoring?
Florida beat 9.
Is dog shit. It's 57.
Yeah, I mean, it sure looks like an over, but I'm not much for college totals. So,
what are you doing? What are you doing for home field right now? What are you doing for home field advantage? What are you giving it?
My biggest home field advantage, and I can't think offhand who the team is, but it's 1.5 is my biggest home field advantage. It's mostly 0s and 1s. So max would be basically 1, because it's only one team I had at 1.5.
Right.
Even with the hand, a quarter of the stands filled, it's just not the same.
So and then why? I understand it. Is it last second? Not really. I think they were told Tuesday. Why was Mizzou at LSU around like 20, and now LSU at Mizzou is 14 and a half?
I have no idea. Maybe I assume it has to do with the stadium size. Does Missouri see? I mean, LSU is a really big stadium.
Yeah, my point is, is there going to be a ton of fans at Missouri that's going to make that much of a difference that the line shifted like 5.5 points?
Oh no, no, I think I think that's being completely overrated. I think the home field's been overrated, and that's part of the reason that if you just played the underdog straight up and the underdog every game, you're hitting a really nice percentage overall in college football, and that is because I think directly related to the fact that home field advantage is being input too much into the line, and it just isn't there.
Right.
So it's not something the road teams have to contend with. Crowd noise, not being able to hear, just a hostile atmosphere. And I don't think it's going to change. So if you're handicapping college football this year, when you see such and such a team B at Team A, it wouldn't give Team A much of an advantage just because they're at home.
Yeah, and this is the angle we're talking about, Mr. Tiger Gator. We know the game is in Columbia. Yeah, we know it got moved. That's my whole point, right. Is that the line shifted 6 freaking points because they moved from Baton Rouge to Columbia. That seems kind of crazy. And I know Missouri is out. I don't know if they've announced the players, but I know they're down 7 players. Yeah. 1 player got positive COVID. They got 6 tracers. So
yeah, they're doing pretty well in college, though. They seem to be. I mean, we're getting cancellations every week, but they're trying, and that's the best you can do in a sport where you really can't play it in a bubble until you get to the playoffs. You just can't. It's just like baseball. You couldn't play it in a bubble. I mean, people kept on hearing, why do they do it in a bubble like they do in the NBA and the NHL? Because you can't. It's just different. Yeah. How are you going to set up bubbles in college football for, what is it, 76 teams right now, and if everybody's playing, it's 130.
Yep.
I mean, how many bubbles are you going to have?
And in the Power 5, it's like 130 people are around the team. So it's the players and the admin, the coaches. It's nuts. You know how much money that would take? It's craziness.
But it's not doable anyway. Where are they going to play the games? I mean, you can't use the same field for all the games. They'll just have it torn up in no time at all. It's just you just couldn't do it. In baseball, in the playoffs, it's worked, and in the NBA, the NHL, in the playoffs, it's worked. They couldn't do it for the whole season. I mean, if the NBA and NHL are going to start on time in approximately January, it's going to have to be at regularly scheduled locations. And if they can't do it, then they're not going to play because they're not going to do a whole season in the bubble. The players wouldn't do it.
Gemma chimes in and says you can't do the bubble with baseball. You got 1,800 players. So.
Right. And too many teams playing too many games. There's 15 games every day. Where are you going to get 15 You need 15 ballparks. Well, you could play a morning and an afternoon. So you need what? 8 ballparks in one city? I don't think that's good. Arizona's the only place they can do it. And quite honestly, you can't do that in the summertime in Arizona. You cannot play outdoors in the summertime in Arizona. It's crazy. It's 115 degrees.
Dave, you got a dog this weekend you like? I was going to say it's gone down too much, but I was going to throw some money on. Wow, look at this. This is craziness. But I guess there's problems on the other side, too. VTEX all the way down from 5.5 midweek to 3 against North Carolina. And I know the North Carolina players are all pissed off. VTEC is slowly getting past the whole COVID thing, and they've actually played good football. They're really running the ball well.
Yeah, well, they are. Well, Burmeister doesn't throw it real well, but he's got good legs. And Hooker is available. And I think we're going to see him tomorrow for Virginia Tech. They're pretty good. I mean, they put up 620 yards last week. I know it was against Duke, but that's still 620 yards, despite the fact that they were playing with essentially a second-unit quarterback and backups on both sides of the ball, especially in the secondary. That might be in terms of the best game of the day tomorrow. That might be it, because I like North Carolina, and I think Virginia Tech is really good, and that's going to be a fun game. I have no idea who's going to win. I mean, I'm just clueless on the game. And sometimes it's just the way it is. But I want to watch that game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Again, someone asking for a dog. I've heard most of the sharps say that they're on the side of Texas against Oklahoma, yet the number's gone up a little bit. There's a bunch of 3s out there now with Oklahoma favored.
Yeah, I guess I lean Texas. I didn't play the game. Give them a little edge with the experienced quarterback. That could be what it comes down to. Rattler has looked like a freshman the last couple of weeks for Oklahoma. His ceiling is enormous. He's going to be a really good player down the road, but he's made a lot of freshman mistakes, and it's hurt him. How much trouble is Herman in? Because Texas fans are they get really touchy with their coaches, and more so than most schools. Texas fans, if they're not delivering, they want the coach out of there, and they've got powerful boosters. Is Tom Herman, does he start to get in trouble if it's already a disappointing start to the season? This is a big game for Texas. Big game for Oklahoma, too. I mean, 0-3 would be a horrendous start. It might just be enough to get Lincoln Riley interested in playing coaching in the NFL. A lot of people are surprised that he's still in Cleveland, or still in Oklahoma, and didn't go to Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. I was one of those people. I predicted that he would end up being the head coach in Cleveland. And they probably wish he was, because what they went through last year was pretty bad.
Tom Herman's now 27-16 at Texas, which is not great for Texas.
Not real good.
Yeah. He's 3-0 in the bowl games.
He did inherit, he had to take over from Charlie Strong, who just wasn't right for that job. So, it's going to take a little time, I guess. And the fact is, the Big 12 fans will hate this, but the Big 12 is quite a bit down from the SEC, and a lot of the recruiting is from the same region. And those players go to the SEC. They're just getting better players with more speed, especially on defense. Way better players on defense, and it shows. The Big 12 has no defense.
Florida State hang with Notre Dame, plus 21?
No. They are switching quarterbacks, though.
Yeah, they're switching offenses.
Yeah. No, they're no good. They don't have any speed, which, I watched them play, and they're slow. It's remarkable that the one thing you'd always expect from Florida State is that they're going to have lots of athletes. They don't have them right now. Yeah. It's going to be a whole Norvell's going to have to re-recruit because the previous administration did a really bad job of it.
Well, Dave, that's the funny thing. You just talked about Herman. It's the funny thing when these big-name programs go into the crapper, right? They're like, oh, this guy couldn't coach. Yeah, he couldn't recruit either.
Yeah.
There's a reason they sucked. It wasn't just because he wasn't an X's and O's guy. He couldn't recruit their talent. Like when Scott Frost took over Nebraska and everyone's like, oh, they're back. Like, no, it's going to be like 4 years before they're back.
It might be longer than that because they're –
yeah.
Look, I know the money was great, but I don't know that Nebraska is ever going to be a real Big Ten power because they've got to out-recruit Ohio State. They've got to out-recruit Michigan. They've got to out-recruit Penn State, which gets all the good players in the East. I think they'll be good. I think they can get some 10-win seasons. But I think Nebraska's days of being a national championship contender are finished. And their fans will turn into UNLV basketball fans. Why aren't we making the Sweet 16 every year? Because it's not 1990.
Right.
Tom Osborne isn't there anymore, and you're not in the Big Eight anymore.
Well, I will say, in defense of UNLV fans, there are lots of mid-majors. Not lots. There are 5 or 6 mid-majors that are really good programs, and UNLV can be that program again. The difference between having 8 good players and having like 30 or 35 good players between basketball and football is immense. And you remember though, like if you looked at the rosters, they did have Nebraska rosters. They did have a lot of Midwesterners, and a lot of it was like the linemen. But a lot of what they did was infuse players from the Northeast, from Florida, from California.
Yeah,
players don't want to go to
those guys aren't going there anymore
because the SEC programs that Nebraska. Can you imagine Nebraska losing in 1986 on a recruit from Florida? Right, to Ole Miss or Mississippi State, they were going to lose that battle. Now they lose that battle.
They get crushed. They can't get players down there, and they're not going to do well. I don't think they're going to do well in the Big Ten with players in like the Texas region.
Right.
Those players are going to stay at Texas or go to Oklahoma or go to the SEC. I think look. Sometimes the grass is only greener from a financial standpoint, and I think Nebraska will rule the decision. I think your school will. They're never going to compete in that conference. Never.
Oh, they will.
They could at least have some decent years playing in.
They could have been. They could have been in the American.
Yeah, and probably done pretty well. I mean, Temple and Rutgers are pretty much the same. Temple's going to a bowl game every year now.
Yeah.
And they've gone from being an awful program to a pretty respectable one. And by the way, they can win in basketball in the A-10 too. Rutgers has got no shot in the Big Ten. They might have an occasional year in basketball where they do well, but in basketball it's the roster thing.
Yeah.
They have zero chance in football.
Basketball, they're going to be good this year, so because they've got old guys, so you gotta let your team get old together, and then you have 3rd and 4th year guys, and then you can compete with Michigan State and some of the other programs are losing guys after 2 years, so it gives them a shot. But yeah, football roster, you got to go 35, 40 deep. So
yeah, it's got to be a burial ground for coaches. I don't know why anybody wants that head coaching job. It's like you're going to lose here, and then your next job's going to be at Western Michigan or worse. So
it's also why a lot of those programs have to, when they go get a coach, K-State.
It's so tough.
K-State's okay. They just signed Chris Kleiman to $4 million a year because they had to, because otherwise he'll go somewhere else.
He's going to go someplace else.
That sort of contract is freaking absurd in Manhattan, Kansas. Come on.
But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. The coach's name doesn't matter if the program is bad. Kansas hired Les Miles. And the first thing, they'll start getting players now. It'll take a little time, but Kansas football is going to – their recruiting has been even worse, if possible, since Les Miles took over. And that's the other side of it is don't hire coaches on the way down. It never works. It just never works. And it's not going to work there. He'll be there for 2 more years, and he'll probably say, fuck it, I'm out of here. I can't take this anymore. And they'll just stay Kansas. They're a basketball program, and that's it.
Some NFL games we didn't get to cover on Cofield and Company today. Cincy, can Cincy compete with the Ravens? Jackson was hurt. Well, he was held out of practice for a couple of days. Lamar Jackson. It's 12.5. Cincy's had a propensity to at least score late in the game.
Yeah,
they have a decent offense. Burrow makes mistakes, but he can twirl it. 12.5.
I think it's a little steep. I think the Bengals might be able to hang around. I don't think they're going to win, but I think the Ravens' confidence level they weren't good last week against Washington. I know they won the game easily, and it was Washington. They were coming out of a big game, but I don't know if they're at their peak right now, and that's okay because the job for Baltimore is just get to the playoffs, and that's when you want to play your best football. And I don't know that they're going to necessarily be playing their best football against the Washingtons and the Cincinnatis of the world. So it's that type of spread, big double-digit number where the underdog might not have a chance to win the game, but they have a decent chance to cover the spread. I heard that Greg Marshall is under fire at Wichita State. Holy shit, I guess you did. Wow.
Yeah. But that said, are the Koch brothers going to ruin their golden goose at Wichita State and get rid of him?
Yeah, I think he's done.
Oh, really? It's that bad?
Oh, it's real bad.
Little bit of language? A lot of bit of language?
Physical stuff.
Yeah.
Racial and ethnic stuff. Tried to choke out an assistant coach.
Nice.
And I had wondered, I had no idea what was going on. I don't want to make it seem like I had any information, but I had wondered, why are so many players transferring out of Wichita State? Very unusual for a top 20.
A ton of transfers the last couple of years.
I think 7 was the number. That's for a top 25 program. That's a ton. So it's like, I didn't know. I had no idea why this was happening. It was just, that's weird that that's happening. I think we have an idea now.
Yep. Intoxicated with power. And then you start turning into an animal.
I think one of his ex-players said, I'm paraphrasing what he said, great coach, miserable human being.
Wow.
So he'll be out of a job for 2 years, and then he'll
right. Then there'll be some other school that's like, hey, we got to win. Fuck it. Whatever it takes to win, we'll bring him in.
Well, listen, if Dave Bliss was able to get work after Baylor, then you pretty much have to commit a capital crime to not get a job.
Yeah, Dave Bliss also got a job in high school, so I don't think Greg Marshall wants to go from making $4.5 million a year at Wichita to coach.
Well, I understand, but the fact that Bliss even got a job was unbelievable.
Not ridiculous. He's part of a murder cover-up. Marshall probably doesn't. You know where he'll land? He'll get the 9th position on an NBA bench and be able to rehab his career a little bit, but I don't know if he'll be a head coach again. This actually, it's a nice little shot at UNLV, but with current management, I don't think you guys have noticed, but Desiree Reed-Francois does not.
She's really good.
She is not, because all those names everyone was throwing, because that's what happens with UNLV all the time. The jobs open up, and it's all these reclamation projects and old guys and guys who have crappy reps. And, if I see Larry Eustace mentioned for the UNLV basketball job one more fucking time, goddamn, he is a pariah. What a scumbag he is. She would never touch a guy like that with a 10-foot pole. Now, when she's gone and if they're desperate, I don't know what happens. And if the boosters have all the power again, which they don't anymore, then maybe UNLV goes that route. But she does not play that way, homie.
No, and guess what? She's getting good people. I think
TJ's a good
so.
coach tonight.
Yep.
And we'll see with Arroyo. We got to give Arroyo, 3 years of recruiting to see if he turns the corner. And actually, like I said to you a couple weeks ago, you were asking about the Rebels' prognosis. I think they will have a good offense because they have good offensive players returning. We'll have to see on defense. But Otzelberger, hey, you run that system the way he did last year, and he sent a message, early in the year. Think about it. Bryce Hamilton, by game 10, like a supremely talented guy, was sitting on the bench and was not scoring anything, was not playing, and he completely turned around, was probably, the second or third best scorer, and he was the second leading scorer in conference. So he got it. And if you go into a year in college basketball with 2 guys who can score 20 points per game and you got a decent supporting cast, you have a chance to be a good team.
Yeah. Now I'm expecting, I don't know how much all this chaos will impact the team, but I think UNLV might be pretty good this year.
I will tell you, they're gonna. I think it's gonna be freak out time around January 15th because they're gonna play a good aggressive non-con, like they're gonna play in this Asheville, which was in Maui. They play against North Carolina coming out, so who knows? Maybe they only go 1-2 in the Maui.
Good experience, though.
I think they're going on the road to SMU. I think they're going on the road to K-State in the non-con, and we'll see if they can reschedule some of the other games. But then in conference, they open at Colorado State, home San Diego State, and then they got Reno as the 3rd or 4th conference game. So they may come out of the gates in the conference like 1-3, and people are going to be freaking out, but then they'll get better from there.
How much are we going to miss Bill Walton not fawning over all the activities on the islands in Hawaii? while the basketball game is going on, by the way. Walton's a trip. You can love him or not, or love him or hate him, but he is unique. And will he wear a Hawaiian shirt if he's doing the games in Asheville?
You better. Yeah.
I hope so. I think that should still be a requirement for all the coaches that are playing in Asheville. It is still the Maui Invitational. You got to wear the shirts. Just make believe it's Hawaii. It's Asheville. Okay, well, close.
Dave, I'm going to show you a video. We're going to go a little shorter tonight on a Friday. I'm going to show you a video. So you know the story, right? In Michigan, you had 6-7 guys conspiring to kidnap and potentially kill the governor, right? I'm just going to say, ahead of watching this, we throw out the term systemic racism amongst police, right? Or systemic issues with police. And I think if you've been paying attention, you're seeing there are issues with the cops and, people of color treatment versus white people treatment, right? And it's pretty obvious sometimes. You're like, wait a second, what just happened here? I don't feel like that was right. We've seen it in the justice system with Breonna Taylor, right? We've seen it in Kenosha, where the 17-year-old has actually been fucking celebrated. We had the Kenosha sheriff a couple of years ago say that people of color, especially African Americans, should be rounded up and put in warehouses and have their reproductive capabilities limited. This guy's in a position of power in Wisconsin. The husband-wife lawyer team in St. Louis that came out, people are walking through their neighborhood. They come out with guns and they're pointing guns at people. They're eventually going to get a pardon, right? I don't know if that.
Well, I don't know if that'll happen, but I will tell you this, and I don't.
Today, yeah.
If anybody wants to argue the point with me, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Had that been a black couple, they'd have gotten shot.
So
that's my opinion. Okay.
I'm going to have you watch this report. It's kind of long. I'll stop it so you can comment. But this is Western Michigan TV station, and this is about the guys who are plotting this whole thing, and particularly the two brothers who were involved.
So I spoke with Barry County Sheriff Dar Leaf, who does say he knows these guys. He, quote, has never had lunch with them or anything like that, but has ran into them at some of these rallies. He said they've always been nice and respectful to him, adding they deserve a fair trial. Michael and William Null were among the first charged Thursday for their alleged roles in the plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The brothers from Plainwell and Shelbyville are now charged with providing support for terroristic acts, on top of weapons charges. Their West Michigan homes raided Wednesday night.
Was able to hear them say, FBI, have a warrant for your arrest. Come out with your hands up.
A neighbor of William Null spoke with Fox 17 under the condition of anonymity. They witnessed the raid and were shocked hearing what it was related to.
I had heard that there was a lot of militia people. Their right to do so, but to the extent that we just found out last night, totally surprised about that.
The Null brothers had ties to militia groups and were frequently seen at local demonstrations, including at this rally in protest of Governor Whitmer's stay-at-home order held last May in Grand Rapids. You can see William.
So there's the brother, one of them on the left. Here's the sheriff, not in the circle on the right, speaking at the same function. Okay, so let's see how this builds from here as we get this sheriff. Dar Leaf is his name. D-A-R, Dar Leaf.
William Null on stage alongside Barry County Sheriff Dar Leaf, a guest speaker at the event. We spoke with Sheriff Leaf Thursday night.
Well, I haven't read everything up on it. I've got other duties to do. It wasn't our investigation. So I was shocked. I did not see this coming with those guys, but still, we can't convict them in the news media here. They do have a right to a fair trial.
Leaf says he doesn't know of Null's alleged involvement in the plot and doesn't have any regrets about sharing a stage with him.
Do you have any regrets from being on stage, sharing a stage with a guy who's now being charged in a plot to kidnap the governor?
Well, it's just a charge, and they say a plot to kidnap. And you got to remember that, are they trying to kidnap? Because a lot of people are angry with the governor, and they want her arrested. So are they trying?
Okay. So you're gonna love where this goes. So he's like, let's be patient, right? Which, by the way, we don't always hear this from the law enforcement community when allegations are thrown out, correct? Right? We don't always hear an understanding approach to these things. So he just said, let's not play it out in the news media. Were they really trying to kidnap, or listen to this, Dave?
to arrest or was it a kidnap attempt? Because you can still, in Michigan, if it's a felony, you can make a felony arrest. And I think it's MCL 764.4 or something like that, 0.5, somewhere on there. And it doesn't say if you're an elected office that you're exempt from that arrest. So I have to look at it from that angle. And I'm hoping that's more what it is. In fact, these guys are innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not even sure if they had any part in it.
So I spoke with Barry.
So he's hoping that they were actually trying to arrest. They were trying to make a citizen's arrest of the governor.
Well, he's sticking up for his friends. Okay, he's obviously friends with these guys. Okay,
Yep.
And anybody who thinks he's not is an idiot. Sorry, they're his pals. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if they've had several beers together over the years.
Yep,
they're buddies. And
so in his case, if we thought there was a dereliction of duty by the sheriff, he'd be fine if you and I went and tried to arrest him as citizens. We could walk up on the sheriff's house and try to arrest him.
Yeah, that would go real well.
Right?
Well, that's what he's saying.
Like, every day is like you're like, what the fuck is going on? Now we're like, wait, it might not be kidnapping. They may have just been trying to execute an arrest here. Let's get the facts. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he just said, well, they're entitled to a fair trial. Okay, yeah, they are. They are entitled to a fair trial. 100%. That's the end of it right there. He basically cast his opinion that they're not guilty of anything except being good citizens.
Nice.
And the thing is, just to make it clear, I've never been a fan of these lockdowns because I'm one who believes that, I understand the dangers of the virus. I don't think it should be compared to the flu. I think that's stupid. But there are also and I've said this repeatedly, so it's not a new stance. In Nevada, the damage that has been done financially to so many families, it's worse than the virus. So I've never been in favor of lockdowns. I do absolutely believe in following protocols, but I did not like shutting businesses down. I still don't. However, there's a big difference between that and reacting in the way that domestic terrorists want to react. It's fine to disagree and have a discussion and hopefully get your point across, but you can't do what these people did and defend them. You just can't defend them with maybe they were just trying to make citizens arrests. Fucking idiot.
There's pockets everywhere, especially we're seeing a lot of these jabroni sheriffs all over the Midwest, man. It's scary shit. And then you see, and it's not just the Midwest, you see a lot of these documentaries, looking at past incidents where people were targeted, not a whole lot of evidence. The police are like, hey, we need convictions. We saw it in the Avery case in Manitowoc. That's that, making of a murderer. I don't know if you saw the story. There's a great documentary, a story in Texas where they needed a rape conviction. And, there was a kid they could get. And, no one was going to really defend him too hard. And they got him. And they, in Texas, just outside of Dallas, I think it was. And then he went in jail for 4 years. And he was a good football player. He had scholarship offers. The craziest one, Dave, he had a scholarship offer to Rice, right? With
great school.
Yeah, which most people would be like, oh, fuck Rice. Who cares? It's like, it's fucking $70,000 a year to go to school. That's if he goes for 5 years, the stupid, and he got, I won't ruin the documentary for you, but he eventually gets, exonerated. He gets freed, and now I think he's going to try to play for Eastern Michigan. He's like 25 years old, but like the Rice education for 5 years is $350,000. You know what kind of connections you get at Rice to set you up for the rest of your life?
It's an Ivy League caliber school, which is part of the reason they can't compete in sports. They're in the wrong place. I have to respond to this from Miller J. Vegas. How much damage is done if a family member dies? It's awful. There are no good outcomes with this thing. It's for some reason, it's not like I'm saying that I at no point have I ever thought the virus is a hoax or anything like that. I never compared it to the flu. What I've also said, though, is that the mental health damage can last a lifetime. Families are getting torn apart over this. People are losing their homes and their jobs. That's also damaging. I don't know which, there's no perfect solution. I wish there was. I just don't think. I think we need to keep states as open as possible. That's my opinion. Look, Las Vegas is the ultimate example. I think we've got the highest unemployment in the country. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. I know people who haven't gotten the virus. They're also out of their homes. They've lost their homes, literally lost their homes that they were paying mortgages on for 15, 20 years, and they are now out. It's horrible. I'm just weighing which is the lesser of the two evils, and that's the way I go. I mean, but again, I'm not saying anybody who disagrees with me is wrong.
Dave, do you go out much?
No. No. No, I don't want to get this thing. And fortunately, I'm in a position where, to be honest, I'm not going to bullshit. I've had an incredibly good financial year. My business doesn't get impacted at all by this.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not speaking as one who's bitter with the way things has gone. It's been a really good year for me, which I feel a little guilty about saying, but I'm not going to lie about it either. So, I don't know. I'm just opting for one over the other. I hate seeing people out of work. I don't want to see anybody sick, but we're getting both. We're still getting people sick, and we've got too many people out of work. What is it? 20-something%?
Might be a little lower now. It might be around 14%, but it's still, that's way too high.
Oh, well, and it has to. We're a hospitality industry city, and there is the hospitality industry. I guess it's getting better. Thank goodness. Circa's opening up as scheduled. The Virgin Mohegan Sun is going to open where the Hard Rock used to be. Those are really good signs. So hopefully we're getting out of this thing.
Yeah. If folks get a chance over the weekend, watch they expire pretty quickly, but if you can get access to Vice News, watch the Tuesday episode of Vice News. This was actually addressed. There was I forget where they went. They went to a kind of one of these Trump trains, a big Trump rally, and it was mostly built around boats. And Mark says here, I'm boggled as to why Trumpers are so insistent that Rona isn't a big deal. I should have pulled the audio. There's a woman who's like, and this is the take on the COVID hoaxer thing. It's the prominent take, most common take is that, well, they had pre-existing conditions and COVID didn't kill them. The pre-existing condition did. And there's a lady who's like, yeah, I'm obese, but if I die, it's because of obesity. And you're like, right, but why do you want to die? Like, no, in the end, you're not dead now. Like, you are a fat fuck, but that is not killing you now. The COVID will. So what is this mentality where you've talked yourself into, well, if you're unhealthy or you've got a pre-existing condition, then that should be the reason for death. But you weren't dying, Tubby. I don't know. I'm amazed by it. All right. Do you want to yell at me, Dave, for before we go? I'm actually going on a trip next week to New Orleans.
Well, the nice thing about New Orleans is it might be one of the only cities, and this is going to irritate people from New Orleans, but oh well. Might be one of the cities that's actually cleaner now because of COVID.
Yeah.
I'm not making this up, and I've been in a lot of cities over the years, and this is a long time ago. But New Orleans is the dirtiest city I've ever been in. I'm not a clean freak at all. But it's like, holy shit, this city, I've never been in a city that smells like piss everywhere.
It is dirty and grimy, but here's the thing. One, the positive for us going there is it's just opening up, and they still got a ton of precautions. You can go into restaurants, but bars really aren't going to be open. So you're going to you get your drinks, you walk outside. The other thing is we don't really hang out in the French Quarter. We don't hang out on Bourbon Street. We'll be down there maybe like 3 hours the whole time. We hang out on the 3 or 4 blocks to each side of Bourbon Street, and then we actually go out of the French Quarter and go to different parts of the city that are less crowded. Listen, I'm not saying like they're super clean, but there are also some beautiful neighborhoods there and a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Some of the other older sections. So we're not down there a whole lot in the French Quarter. So we'll see. Hopefully we don't run into any trouble, and we've got we've got masks and we're planning on walking
Yeah.
around a lot and drinking and eating and, sanitizer up the wazoo.
And I think I want to make sure that it's not the residents of New Orleans who make the city dirty. It's the tourists.
Yeah. And listen, the French Quarter is old as fuck. It is old. Actually, they're starting to redo the streets. Bourbon Street, they just redid the street, so it's not all, potholes and crapola. The funny thing is, I guess this isn't a good story to tell with COVID raging. One of the funny things in New Orleans is, like, we talk about it all the time. Like, where's there a good bathroom? Like, you're always looking for, like, we have spots we know. They're like, oh, that bathroom over there is good. That place has a good bathroom. Because there's some of the other places. I mean, the buildings are from, the 1700s and 1800s, and they're dilapidated in a lot.
So is the plumbing.
Yeah. So, yeah, right. Someone said, "Hey, the booze kills the COVID anyway." Well, I don't think that's the case, but Tijuana over New Orleans. Now, New Orleans is nicer than Tijuana.
Yeah.
Tijuana's pretty rough. I'm a TJ fan, but that place is pretty rough. They're not infusing a whole lot of money into TJ.
Well, that would ruin the atmosphere if it did. No, that's what a lot of people love, the idea of, hey, let's go to the entire city's a dive bar. Okay, so, and some people love that. I some of my closest friends love it down there, and they always, do you want to go? It's like, no, I don't want to go. I just, no, not a chance. I'll go slightly north of there. I'll stop in San Diego. You guys can continue and then pick me up on the way back, but I'll stay here. I like La Jolla better than Tijuana.
Oh yeah, I like this line about bringing the Sea-Doo. It's funny. New Orleans is on the Mississippi. Now I know the Mississippi's deep in certain parts of it because they're bringing like giant oil tankers through there. But when you look at the Mississippi around New Orleans, like it's not super impressive, and it doesn't look that deep. And I don't know if they can even do water sports on Lake Pontchartrain, which is just to the north, and that's why when they had Katrina, that's always the problem with these hurricanes with New Orleans. You got Pontchartrain on one side, and then you've got the Mississippi and all these tributaries around it. So that's why it was like unfortunately the perfect storm, and the whole thing got flooded. So, and I think that from when I looked at the tracker with the hurricane that just went through or is hitting them right now, I think they're doing okay. So I think they're
good, because great tourist places need to flourish. People need to go away. And have great vacations in places they love.
The other reason I like New Orleans, and I mean, obviously it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years older than Vegas. There is I'm not even going to compare it to Vegas. There's a feel in New Orleans like a real community, because the people there, they're locals. You know what I mean? And they really love the place. The ones that stayed there, and they lost a ton of population with Katrina. So I'm telling you, when you talk to people in New Orleans, the locals, they are so fucking friendly. Like, they love that place, and they love that you're going there. So I don't know. I'll do a little slap on the back. Part of it is like, you know what? Let's go down there. I'm sure just like Vegas, they've been destroyed by the lack of tourism. So let's go spend a little money and help out a little bit in the smallest way we can. So I don't know.
And that's why I got irritated a few weeks ago with the player on the Raiders who decided to leave $10 in a $600.
Yeah.
Then you get the flip side of it though, and it's like, great guy. I mean, what Westbrook did with the housekeepers at in the bubble, $8,000. He didn't have to do that. That's paying it forward. I'm a fan of his now, just because of that. If you're doing well, take care of people who might not be doing as well.
Yep. All right, Dave. Good job, man. Very good job. We'll close it out on that. I think that's a good note. Thanks to everybody who watched this week, and we'll be back next week. I'm not sure we're doing every day next week, but we'll figure it out. We'll have an abbreviated schedule. We'll probably do at least 3 of these during the week. I'll be out, but we'll kind of cobble something together. So look for the schedule early next week. Dave, have a good weekend. I hope you win a bunch of money.
I'll settle for getting back to even after the Louisville disaster tonight.
Jesus.